Could you share with us a little bit about yourself, where you're currently based right now, and what you currently do?
Well, yes. My name, of course, is Dr. Patricia Williams Jow, and I live in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, in a little college town. And it's about 20 minutes south of Philadelphia.
Ooh, lovely. I've not been to Philadelphia before.
Yes.
What's
And I am a professional storyteller, and I have a consulting business. I've served more than 20,000 clients since I started my business over 20 years ago. And I'm a scholar and a researcher, authoring 2 books with articles published in a peer-reviewed journal. And my work has taken me extensively to West Africa, where I lived for 3 years and worked as a differentiated learning specialist.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, and could you tell us a little bit, Patricia, about what was your biggest problem you were facing in your life prior to LMA?
Well, yes, in 20 years, I had done a lot of work and acquired a lot of knowledge in my field. And I had done a lot of in-person storytelling, seminars, workshops, and it became a challenge to me how to transfer this work that I was doing in person to online. And so I was feeling a lot of anxiety about my business during this period in which we were shut in with the pandemic, and feeling a lot of shame when I would walk around my boxes of files and materials and was not having the focus or the discipline to work on it, and feeling a lot of anxiety in myself, a lot of anxiety about how I was using my time.
Was it because of the pandemic? The whole schedule has changed. In what way did it impact you in your work life?
Well, the reason before I came across LMA, I was feeling a lot of shame and a lot of guilt and a lot of anxiety, and it was primarily because of my thoughts. I found that in the mornings I would wake up with a lot of tormented thoughts. It would take me a good time to find a way to get started on my day. I didn't know what to do first. And I wasn't happy with the thoughts that I was having because I know that thoughts create reality for you. And I wanted to be able to envision a future. And I would ask myself, why is it that you can't see something good happening to you? Why can't you see what your life can be? Why? And even though I have all of these goals that I have set, in those moments, I couldn't seem to shake the deep sense of a despair that I was experiencing at that moment.
Oh, right. And have you ever experienced anything like this before the pandemic at all?
It wasn't so much about the pandemic.
Mm.
It was the period of time was in the last year when what I would usually do, I did not do. But the feelings that I had were around goals that I had set for myself that I had not fulfilled in my career. It was an anxiety about relationships that I have in my life with my loved ones. Many of them are far away. My children are all grown and they're gone. And relating to them and hearing the issues that they were facing in life and hearing the problems that they were having, and sometimes wondering, had I contributed to that? Seeing I had struggles within myself, I wondered as a parent, had I done a good enough job with them? And so I had this kind of a um, seeking in myself for solutions. I was looking for something that could help me with where I was in myself and in my career and in my family relationships.
Right. It sounds like the family relationship side of things means a lot to you. And you were looking for a solution at that point when things weren't working out. Have you always been solution focused? Or was it something that you may have struggled with in the past but got better?
I think I'm a very creative person, and I have faced some daunting challenges in my life. And I think it's a strong inner sense of confidence that I have. Just based on the fact that I know that when I was 2 months old, I was separated from my mom, and I was put in a setting. It was a institutional setting, and for like 8 months, I was in this institutional setting. I was fortunate to get good parents, good foster parents who eventually adopted me. And so for me to have gone from that beginning to now, I've always found this source within myself that I could tap into, sort of like a capacity to not just thrive, not just survive, but I've always wanted to share my gifts. I've always wanted to make a difference in the life of other people. I've always wanted positive outcomes. I've always wanted good to be expanded in the world. And so I have this kind of approach to life, and I have this confidence that solutions are there, and
Yeah.
I can pull them to me, and in phenomenal ways in my life that made a difference for me and for my loved ones. I was able to witness that as an outcome.
Wow, I love that. I love what you just shared there. And you're really resourceful and you've accomplished so many great things in your career and in your life and other areas of your life. And
Thank you.
you're an inspiration, Patricia.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that, because that's what I want to do. I started the storytelling at a time when I was actually in the throes of a nervous breakdown. And so while I'm having this nervous breakdown, I'm going to a library to do research about how people have breakdowns and what happens to children in their development and what needs to happen for them. And while I was in the library, I just stopped in the children's library and I saw these books. And I pulled the books out, and I was looking for books that had universal themes. I am a person who is spiritual. I have, traveled spiritual paths, but I was looking for something that was universal, something that was at the core, something that could reach everyone in the experiences that they were having as human beings. And so I found stories from around the world fit that criteria. And so I learned creation stories and other stories. And there was one story in which I have literally told this story over hundreds of times. And every time I tell it, it's different
That's so
depending on the
interesting.
audience. That's
Oh,
the thing about storytelling. So, yes, I became a storyteller as a consequence of where I went to find help. I went to find out, why is this happening to me? And what can I do to make sure that other children like me?
yeah.
And so I have an organization, and I won't say the name of it, but
Mm.
it's about trying to, and that's what my work took me to Africa to do, to try to create a transformational project. And transformational development means changing, empowering children. Transformational development is
Amazing.
empowering children as agents of change.
Fantastic. Oh, love that so, so much. Doing impactful work. And how did you come across, since you're you're really someone I could imagine you would do quite an extensive research. You will go into it in more depth, probably than a lot of other people. So when it came to doing the research to find a solution at the time, what made you decide, out of other research you've done and transformational course, you name it, What made you decide to go for LMA course instead of others?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, there's something very magical that happens with me in life where things come to me out of nowhere. And I have learned to recognize it when it's happening. I would say that the most important things in my life that advanced me forward, that's how it occurred. And so I had a girlfriend. She sent me a text. She said, this is a YouTube that she wanted me to see. So I went online to see this YouTube. And at the end of the YouTube, it had an advertisement. So all of a sudden, Tim is there and he's talking. And I'm like caught up in what he's saying. And so I mean I've heard a million of these, but for some reason this was one that when the 5 seconds that you could click and be rid of it, I didn't want to. So I kept listening. And when the opportunity came for me to do the training, I knew I wanted to do the training. So I did the training, which was thorough and deep and very representative of what the LMA is about, and it gives you an experience of how you can benefit from the program. And so at the end of this training, free training, I thought about the money, I thought about my life, and I said, I can't afford not to take this course.
At that moment, you just decided that you can't afford to not take this
I
course.
can't afford not to take this course.
And what?
That's the information, the format of that information, and the enthusiasm and the depth of commitment and the investment of energy that Tim was making, and the personal stories that he was sharing that made you able to identify with your own struggles through what he was saying about his life. And as a researcher, as one who has done tremendous self improvement work, as a person who has been spiritual, I've had gurus and all other kinds of spiritual guides, and just read books, I knew the truth of what he was imparting. But I was just incredibly impressed because I'm also a learning specialist. I
Mm.
was impressed with how he put it together in such a way that even though it was online, even though it was what you usually would try to avoid in teaching, which is just talking, 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 usually is in a learning environment, try to engage the students, et cetera, how he put together a program that I didn't even want to leave to go and get water. I would take my laptop with me as I would go because I
Oh,
didn't
wow.
want to miss anything that he was saying. And then I talked to a girlfriend about it, and she said, yes, it's energy. He was transforming positive energy to me. And it was my being on the lives, like for 4 straight weeks. I did the first 2 weeks in the online portal.
Yes.
The last 4 weeks, even though you're on for 3 or 4 hours,
Mm.
it was transformational. I found that I had energy. I found that my approach to things at the beginning of the course was like, oh, I've got to do my morning routine. I've got to do my afternoon routine. I've got to do this.
So
I've got
much.
to do that. But as I continued to interact, I found a shift in myself in which I took control of the levers of how I would direct my attention. And to my amazement, I started gaining even more from the program because I was internalizing it. It was seeping deep inside of me, and without me even knowing it, from the calm that I felt, from the peace that I felt, from the confidence that I felt, knowing I had information that could be used as tools, I relaxed.
You're right.
I relaxed. And of course, it's hard to feel at peace and confident and relaxed, and at the same time feel anxiety and tension and shame, especially when you have been given an introduction that makes you understand exactly where all of that is coming from. And if you have like experiences spiritually, you've developed muscles and a kind of discipline. So it was easy for me to recognize, oh, that's that survival brain of mine. And or just be laying down and looking at the boxes and remembering integrity. I
Yes.
have an African name and I speak to myself in my African name, Abiwa. Get up, do something, okay? Just start. And then I would start. And then it was next. I started setting timers, which is something I had done in the past, that would focus me where I would feel, oh, I can't do anything. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know where to begin. I would say, well, let me set a 5-minute timer and see what can I accomplish in this 5-minute timer. So that is how the program impacted me, as a person who had the ability to recognize the value of what was being offered to me and the over giving. There's, over delivering. There was tremendous over delivering,
Curious.
hearts were being poured out,
Yes.
souls were connecting,
Just
and,
curious.
and energy was resonating in the universe. All right.
Yes. What's been the
Yes.
biggest value, would you say?
Say it again.
What do you think has been the biggest value you've gotten from the program?
I would say the improvement in my relationship with my son. What I learned about relationships and what I learned about communication um, has been significant to me because of what he's going through in his life and how he needed me to be in a space that could help him, not be in my space, me space,
Yes.
but to recognize I didn't need to tell him my story. I needed to understand and ask questions. And to my amazement, he wouldn't talk very much. And now he's literally calling me up. And I'm sharing the program with him that I'm taking a program that's helping me. And so sometimes when I start to talk, he knows that the reason why I stop and say, no, let me listen, is because his mom is taking another program. But this one, is really helping in specific ways. Let's see. Another way that the program has helped me is that um, I've been able to have more, the morning rituals and the evening rituals are helpful, very helpful to me. In fact, I have them painted, I have them taped to my wall, heart influencer journal and heart influencer affirmation. And so when I got the program, I mean, I wish I could show you this. I organized a little area for myself.
Wow.
So I
That's going
organized
above
this
and beyond.
area.
So that's the Heartland's affirmation. I see. You go above and beyond, Patricia, and you follow through with integrity from the start to finish to now, and you continue this journey so strong. Wow, that's so great to hear. Also, that your relationship has gotten
Thank
better
you.
with your son. That's incredible. How do you feel now, having gone through this and gotten all these benefits? How do you feel?
Challenged. I feel challenged to recommit myself to going through the materials from the LMA again, um, with the understanding of why it is that you're asked what are 3 things that you gained from it, because it's so much information. I realize that if I go through the information, alert to 3 things that I want to walk away from and implement, 3 things that I want to write them down and make them real for myself, 3 things that I want to see the outcomes that can occur just as a consequence of me knowing these 3 things and allowing it to influence how I make decisions, how I perceive things that are going on around me. So
That,
that's just one example.
is that the reason why you continue doing this work even after graduation?
Well, it's kind of the reason why.
Mm.
But again, I told you sometimes little things happen that let me know. So I was trying to process my certificate, and this page came up, and it was beautiful. It was yellow, and it said something about magic or a prize or something. And so I thought I was clicking into something that was a prize of some sort that I wasn't aware of. But when I clicked into it, I saw that I had clicked into the next program. And it wasn't my intention,
Mm.
because I was like, oh, thank God the program is over. I don't have to do these Saturday mornings anymore, these Sundays. Oh boy, this was really great, but now I can take a break.
Mm.
But when that page came up, I recognized that no, go on. And so I clicked, knowing that I had access to really consider and reconsider if I wanted to. But I felt
You decided to go
blessed.
on.
I
Yeah.
felt blessed. I felt favored. I felt like something was saying, do this, because as a consequence of this, later on, there are going to be some things that are going to be happening. And you're going to be glad that you did this. And later on, if you don't do this, there are going to be some wonderful things that are going to be happening. And you're going to say, wow, if I had known this was going to happen, I would have registered for that course, you know.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, because some people may be wondering, okay, why go through the course again when you've already graduated? But it makes total sense from what you just said there. You just don't know in life what will happen next, and other challenges will come up in life, right? So it's just preparing you for that.
Here we go. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
I love your
Thank you so
resilience
much.
and courage.
I had a lot of you answered, you really led me beautifully into some things that I wanted to share.
Mm.
But may I just share one last thing?
Sure you can. Thank you.
So it was a question, why put myself first at this moment? Because I listened to the example that was provided. You know, they said you're going to have an interview, so here's an example. And Tim was interviewing someone. And so I said, it's now or never for me. I have reached the end of the road for waiting for that magical moment that I will come across at some point in the forever future. Putting myself first is thinking about my legacy. I have adult offspring, and they have benefited from what I have taught them. I know um, they have benefits, but I must show them something more.
Mm.
I must show them that in life they can achieve and achieve fulfillment, that they can experience joy, that they can share with the world their gifts and their talents and gifts that are deep inside of the core of who they are. I must be an example. I can show it to them with my own life. So when you get in front of the screen and, Tim is talking to you and he's saying, give it everything you have, give it everything, you know, not just for yourself, but do it for your family, like I'm doing it for my family. You
Mm.
know, it's like, yes, 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 some way and somehow I've got to stay committed to this journey. I've got to go forward and not backwards or just stand still. I have to achieve what I'm capable. I had a plan to help to build an institution. 10 years ago, I had a 5-year plan, and in that 5 years ago, I should have achieved it. If it's a 5-year plan of 10 years ago, I wanted to have touched the lives of millions of people. I wanted an institution. I went to Africa in 2001. And with just me sharing my own money, I have sent hundreds and thousands of dollars, well, at least 100,000, that didn't do the institution, but it affected lives. It made a difference. And I haven't given up on my capacity. And I believe that this program and continuing with this program, I will gain what it is that I need to be able to execute the tremendous vision and all the work, the infrastructure, the foundation that I have put in place. That and I feel that the community, that this is a beautiful community. I remember the first time I went on Facebook, there was this lady, she was talking, and I sent a response to her, "Who are you people?" I've never seen anyone, so warm and so enthusiastic, you know? And I kept flipping through and I was saying, "Oh my God." That was the first time I did Facebook,
Yeah.
And I had a partner for a moment before she had to go. She finished the program, but she got on and she just started giving me tips, and she was so enthusiastic. And she said, "I've done this program."
Energy is, yeah.
Yes, this is my third time going through. And I'm like, I'm at the beginning, I'm saying, "You went through 3 times?" I'm like, wow. But then as I went through, I said, I understand why. I mean, you make a relationship with the course yourself.
Yes.
You begin to recognize in the course what it is you need to go back into. Last night I went back into the chapter on community, building relationships.
So you're
And yes, I did that last night in preparation, like asking myself, why did the program help me with my son?
That's amazing.
Just let me go through the points that were said, reinforce them in myself again, bring them back into my mind.
Amazing. Just up here, and it's just going up and up and up and up, like you said, because you're practicing this, aren't you? And you're committing to your progress, to your legacy. It's for your family, for your growth, for others. Thank you so much, Patricia, for sharing and doing the impactful work that you do for your organization, for your education
Thank you.
and transformation.
Thank you.